Hi everyone, and welcome to a Wellness Wheel Wednesday. And today I'm Dr. Vera Baziuk, and my clinic is Advanced Wellness Chiropractic, and I do chiropractic, but a special chiropractic. It's called torque release technique, which is a not a cracking kind of style of chiropractic, but very neat and highly effective for your brain and for your spine and your ultimate health. It's really cool, and if you want more information, just hop on our webpage. Today though, who I have with me is Katrina Breau. Breau like snow. And she has a lot of certifications and acronyms behind her name, and I'm going to let her tell you that she is
So I am a certified holistic nutritional consultant.
That's one.
Specializing in brain health and life coaching combined. So I take your nutrition, your brain health, your stress piano, and blend it into your life coaching.
Bang. It's better that she says it. So why Wellness Wheel exists is because to discuss basically the stress of life and how that impacts a presentation of pain. So most people consider something painful in their shoulders, knees, backs as something physical that they've done, but it's not always necessarily so, especially if a condition is recurring or of a chronic nature. Then we start to think that maybe some other aspects are involved other than just something physical that you've done. That's very important to look at, because if there is lots of stresses in life, then it's how can we manage that, or how can we begin to tackle that Mount Everest of stress slowly to make sure that you're really getting over this discomfort that you're feeling in your body. So chiropractic is one of those tools that one can use towards lessening the discomfort, but it's sometimes not enough. We need other professionals, other information, other adjuncts to really get over the hump. And nutrition is one of those things that really, if you start to use food as a drug, it really is the most powerful drug on planet Earth, because we digest those macronutrients and provide fuel and nutrition and energy to every single cell, and there's trillions of them. So wouldn't it be wise to know what actually is deficient in our body and what is the best resource of fuel to make us go well? So this is why Katrina is with us today, is because she deals a little bit more with the neurology, which is a fancy word, and I'm going to let her explain exactly what neurological conditions are, because although you might have a sense of it, she's just going to define that for us, and she's going to talk a little bit about that and how she helps her clients and who she's looking for in order to really provide a transformation for their life. So Katrina, tell me then, let's start there. Let's define that. Let's define a neurological patient. Who is that?
Well, we all have neurology, and that's your brain health. And all of us have had brain health issues happen. We've all had a depression come in. We've all had emotional waves happen. But many times it's not just one event, it becomes something that really affects your life. Whether that be depression, anxiety, that's not just one event, it becomes a continuous pattern for you, or whether you've been diagnosed with a specific condition like MS or epilepsy, whether you are pulled in multiple directions because of the demands of work or caring for your patient and your child and your parent who's in care in the geriatric ward, and you're burning yourself out. Those are all impacting your cognition. And when we think of cognition, we're looking at the brain quality working and how that is actually functioning for you. Whether that be your young child in elementary that sometimes runs to school without a breakfast, and then the cognition may not be functioning for that test during the day. The same way as when we're in university, this week especially, with the kids that are all in exam timing for midterms and cramming like crazy, many times they're staying up late at night, lack of sleep, eating a pizza, cramming for those exams, which may not be the best choice. And so there are other options for them to actually consume foods that will feed their brain so it will be more active to gain that answer that they want for the exam. And that's all about how to use nutrition to then get across the blood-brain barrier for different conditions.
I totally agree that nutrition is very important. That's one of the things that I try and teach my patients, but I teach it at a more basic level. Now, I know that there's popular diets out there that everybody is gravitating towards, but simply the ones that I follow, the one diet that I follow is just an anti-inflammatory diet, which just sounds super cool, but it really is about controlling. Bottom line is, the macronutrients that go in. So basically, two very important hormonal axis, the insulin and glucagon, because basically the brain only consumes glucose as a form of fuel, but how that glucose actually gets to the brain is pretty important, and which food choices are that. So can you speak a little bit more towards that? Because when we were chatting, which was this is a good one, I'm just going to say, so we might have to do this in parts, but you mentioned something about the blood-brain barrier, so I'm not sure if the general public is aware of that, but it's a pretty solid thing that's preventing a bunch of toxins from getting in. But so how do we kind of influence that to let in all the good stuff and keep out all the bad stuff? So how do you broach that with somebody with a neurological condition?
So the first thing is to look at what are they eating right now, and what are the facts of what they're eating. And when you're eating something, breakfast, lunch, supper, snacks, how did you feel after you consumed it?
Yeah.
How did that impact your mood? And then how did that impact any symptoms that you actually have? To realize that this was the fuel you put in your body, and did that fuel actually work for you or not?
Yeah, for sure. That's huge, and a lot of people, I think, until they've kind of reached a little bit more of that crisis mode, start to pay attention to what food is actually doing to them. But that's massive. You're right. Food can actually make you feel good, and food can actually make you feel bad. So in a way, sometimes having the sensitivities to food, like a lactose intolerance or a gluten intolerance, is, I think sometimes people feel that they might be deprived of the nectars of societies, the ice cream and the breads and all that. But really, it's great. It's really good if you particularly are sensitive to that and you don't feel good.
I would say that the other thing that people need to understand is every single day you go to do your groceries, you are choosing that fuel to increase or decrease your inflammation that is in the brain and every part of your body, and any other symptoms you have. So instead of thinking just breakfast, lunch, supper, snacks, push your cart around, what are the symptoms you, your children, and family are having, and what nutrients can offset those symptoms?
Super. So that's a massively impactful statement right there, because the one question that jumps up into my mind is like, well, which foods do I choose? Because there's people have strong opinions on health and nutrition, and so especially with the popularity of some current diets that are out there, which foods are good or not. So as we were talking, Katrina has actually a very generous gift. Where is it? So, and in that, I noticed that there was it's a gift certificate for, is it over here? But in it, oh, thank you. I could have reached over. I knew it was here. We have a lot going on. But in it, I noticed that there is a brain healthy grocery food list. So that sounds like something that, the analogy that you use, going grocery shopping every day, it might be pretty good. So we just have a short time, a minute, do you want to just quickly chat about your gift certificate?
Sure. So this is a gift certificate where you can spend 4 one-hour sessions with me, where we will cover your nutrition, nutritional deficiencies, brain health, and life coaching, done on questionnaires as well as discussions, and looking at specific symptoms and why you may be experiencing something, and then looking at grocery lists based on your symptoms and what's best for you, and then also looking at meal plans that might be a better source of the information.
How does one get it?
Feel free to call me 780-686-7949, and it's Neurological Nutrition.
First person to call gets the gift certificate. Okay, but we're going to do this in a second part. So for those, stay tuned for part 2 with Katrina Breau.